Okay, we're live again.
Hey, how y'all doing? Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
Scott didn't even realize we're already live. Did you see that look on his face? Guys, you want to hear something funny? First of all, sorry, we have no idea why the stream ended in the middle of our conversation with Drake. From what we could tell, believe it or not, we just went like another 10 or 15 minutes answering super chats,
talking to no one,
and not even knowing the stream had ended because nobody had touched a button. Some kind of a StreamYard defect. Don't know what it was. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. And I wish we could know why that happened because it's pretty easy. If you've never done a StreamYard before, guys, make no mistake. They make it pretty hard to end a stream and pretty hard to start a stream. They want to make sure things don't end accidentally. Nobody touched anything in the first place, but even if we had, they make sure, are you sure you want to end the stream? Stuff like that. So don't have any explanation for it. Really apologize. Don't know exactly where it cut off on Drake, Zach, but we were in the process of answering Dale super chats, Cody super chats, Ronk super chats. We were talking to George Fox on Facebook. And then all of a sudden I noticed, hey, we haven't had a new comment at all in the chat since like whatever it was. It'd been like 10 minutes. And that's when we realized, wait, there's no time. We're not live. What the heck? So really apologize, guys. Sorry about that. Zach, what are you going to do?
Like you say, Chad, charge it to the game. StreamYard's been giving us these issues for quite a while now.
But guys, we're not going anywhere. We still got to grab those super chats. And we still have the head-to-head. So sorry about that. And let's move on. First things first, though. We got to, I can't flash it on the screen, but I'm just going to read it here, Zach, from D-Dub on YouTube, jumping in with 2 very generous super chats.
Thank you again so much, Dale.
D-Dub, great to see you, brother. Thank you. Love you. Appreciate you. There's a reason your family, Mount Rushmore, you know the drill, big dog, and you're a legend. But his first super chat, Dale says, hello to the MHH faithful from the islands. Game 1, glad we didn't look elite on offense. Hype had us winning the Super Bowl without playing a single down. The team will get to work now, and I believe get better each week. Bo looked sped up, just like last year. He will settle down. And then he goes on to say, RJ, second super chat from D-Dub, Colts will be an early season challenge. Hope to see more running success, to be sure. RJ makes the mouth water after that taste. We need to run the ball in order to dictate to the defense. The ball will come out quickly, and I'll take a win, even if it's 3-0. Broncos for life. Zach, D-Dub, it's so crazy because we already spent like 10 minutes talking about the things he got us going on here and thanking him and all that, and he didn't even hear it. So it's really weird, kind of bizarro world. But Dale, thank you so much, brother. Zach, what do you make of his points here, especially about the kind of being glad it didn't look perfect week 1 offensively?
Yeah, thank you so much again, Dale. Hopefully you're hearing it this time for real. And I agree with you. There's no such thing as style points in the NFL. I'll try to, repeat what I said before because I thought it was pretty poignant. But I don't care if they win 3-0, like you said, or 300-0. The Broncos came out of week 1 a little humbled by a victory, not humbled by a loss or an upset to the Titans, but they had an 8-point victory. They did not play their best, and there's a lot they could glean from that. Even Sean Payton, Chad, he said, I have to be better as a play caller. Bo Nick said, I have to be better. So that's the ideal scenario. You picked up the win. You beat a team you're supposed to beat. You're starting faster than last season, but you didn't play your best ball. Far from it. So when the Broncos put it all together on offense and defense, it is going to be fun.
Man, that's kind of the price you pay. You go from, as a Broncos fan, just praying to the football gods that they're going to win today, to last year they make the playoffs. Now you have expectations, and now it's not so much did they win, did they lose. You expect the win, and now you're judging them based on the style points. And that's just kind of the way a team evolves and the way expectations evolve. And they did not meet the hype in week 1, at least not offensively. The defense, I think, Zach, certainly did. But to Dale's other point, got to get that run game going. I mean, Sean Payton, better late than never. I mean, can you imagine how that game may have shaken out if he didn't come out of the half going, got to run the ball? RJ breaks off that 50-yarder, And then you got JK going a little bit. I mean, JK was a little bit of a workhorse after not seeing really any action in the preseason, 16 carries, etc. Not huge efficiency, although I think too much is getting made of he looks slow out there. I don't really see that. But nevertheless, you got to use these guys, Zach, on the road. Lucas Oil, that fan base, as we heard from Drake, they're fired up. They're excited about this 1-0 start. Got to run the ball.
And I'll believe that when I see it, because Sean Payton wrote run the ball on his play sheet last season. He still didn't run the ball. He abandoned the run in that game. He has to. I don't care how tempted he is by the Colts having injuries in their secondary. I don't care how tempted he is to make Bo Nix a thing as a passer. He needs to stay to what's true and what's getting him to the dance, and that's the running game.
Yeah, exactly. Also, D-Dub, dude, thank you again. I feel really bad, like, when someone goes out of their way to show such massive support for the channel like that, and then all of a sudden, as soon as they basically lay down their super chats, we just wink off. We're just gone. I feel really bad about that, but I'll be texting him so that he knows we did get to his supers. Thank you again, big dog. Much love and respect. We hope to see you next month at the meet and greet. Let us know if that's happening for you, big dog. Also, we had the Ronk checking in before the stream ended, Zach, to say good evening, Chad and Zach on the Mile High Huddle podcast. Go Bo Broncos. See you back in the room, Ronk. Thank you, pal. Also, Cody Dub, who said 27-13, let's go Denver, with a $2 super chat. So thank you for that as well, Cody, and for being a member. Both you and Ronk for being members, man. Really appreciate it. Brace Girdle in the house. What's going on, Ralph? Late to the party. Been a messed up week. Yes, it has. God bless the fallen on 9/11/01. Yes, indeed, brother. Never forget, Ralph.
Yeah, God bless the fallen and God bless America. Thank you, Ralph.
Something screwed up because even now, Zach, we've been streaming live again for about 7 minutes. There's 4 comments in the chat. You know what I mean? Like something's going on tonight, obviously, by it just killing our stream a little while back, but let alone something's going on. So something's telling me here we better get to our head-to-heads or else we might not get the chance. Yeah, so String Guy giving us some context. That was crazy. I just saw Drake answer my question and the stream died. Man, sorry about that, guys. We really have no idea how that happened. It's never, ever happened before that I can recall, Zach. So sorry about that, guys. Glenn, good to see you. He says, all I want to see is improvement on last week. We building. State of being. That's right, dude. You're a great hashtag state of being member of this community. All right. Let's do, Zach. I just kind of have a feeling here we're whistling past the graveyard. So let's get to the meet and greet, or pardon me, the head-to-head. Let me make sure this works. Doing it this way on Firefox throws me off a little. There we go. All right, guys, you know the drill on these. So I'm going to go off screen here, Zach. You'll have to tell me if anything weird happens, okay? Because I'm not in StreamYard right now. But as you can see here, this is the Broncos-Colts comparison head-to-head. We call it a green designation means top 10, red, bottom 10. And if it's black, it's somewhere in the middle. Both teams 1-0. But you look over here, Zach, at the Colts. I'm just doing a brief little scroll. All green almost. Even their turnover differential. +3 puts them first in the league. Broncos -2 puts them near the bottom. They held on to the ball, for crying out loud, 38 minutes. Now, that Miami performance, for as bad as the Broncos were in that historic loss to the Dolphins back in 2023, Zach, that Dolphins team, coached by the same guy, was nearly that bad in reverse. Basically, they were the Broncos. It was bad, man. It looks like that's a team that's going to quickly jump the shark off the tracks. All she wrote, I don't know, didn't look good. But the Colts, man, they did look good. And if you look at these offensive comparisons here, the Colts 4th in yards per game, 9th in yards per play, so they're being very productive and efficient. Points 33, so that puts them at 4th. Rushing, they're 6th, even better than the Broncos. Net passing 8th, no picks, no fumbles lost, 1 sack allowed, and then third down, they're kind of middle of the pack. At red zone, 50%, which is pretty solid, but that number is going to be skewed right now relative to rankings because it is based on only one game. Meanwhile, you look at the Broncos, 14th, Zach, in yards, 27th in yards per play. I mean, it was the polar opposite. It was inefficient, right? If these guys were efficient over here in week 1, Broncos were inefficient. Points, 20. That puts them middle of the pack. Rushing, that was the one saving grace offensively. That puts them at 7th. Passing, though, barely outside the bottom of the rankings. 2 picks, 2 fumbles, 4 giveaways puts them dead last. Broncos, by the way, Zach, only team to lose the turnover battle in week 1 and still win the game, for what it's worth. What do you make of these head-to-heads offensively?
I think we said this around this time last season. It's kind of hard to judge these numbers and stats after 1 week or 2 weeks. We need a little more sample size to have some sort of narrative to paint here. But obviously, Chad, Daniel Jones and the Colts, they put up, 38 points or whatever it was, 33, 38, whatever. They looked good last week. The Broncos offense did not look good last week. I'm more interested in scrolling down and seeing all the green on the Broncos defensive side.
Exactly. We're getting to that right now. It's time to go back. There you go. Check out the defense here. But look, a lot of green on the other side with that new defensive coordinator they got. So let's just look at the Colts first. 3rd in yards, 2nd in points surrendered. But again, that's another skewed number because they did look good defensively. But guys, the Dolphins couldn't even lace up their shoes right. I mean, it was bad. Passing, look, a lot of green. Broncos, meanwhile, are 1st in yards per play, relinquishing a measly 2.42 yards. Points are 5th. They did allow 4 field goals to the Titans. Rushing, they're 8th. Passing, though, look at that, Zach. Now, you got to remember, though, that was a rookie quarterback making his first ever big boy start in the league. No picks, but they did have 2 fumble recoveries, which ties them for the first in the NFL because it's only been 1 game. And then their 6 sacks led the NFL. 14% on 3rd down, that's first. 0 red zone percentage, that's also first. And that's the other thing you got to look at over here. The Dolphins got 1 red zone possession last week, Zach, and they scored. So it makes it look like, just based on the figure here, they're giving up 100% touchdown rate. That's where you got to remember the context of it's only 1 game.
I can't get over the 0.0 for the red zone percentage. That's pretty great. But yeah, it all looks good as it should because the Broncos defense was that good in week 1. I'm not leaning too much on the numbers here, Chad. I will lean on the analysis of Drake, for example, and his prediction was it's going to be a close game right down the middle. It's going to be a defensive game, a hard-fought game, and he sees the Broncos maybe emerging victorious. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
If you think back to that game last year between these 2 clubs, granted it was in Denver, but it was pretty dicey for the Broncos up until that Jonathan Taylor goal line fumble which resulted in a turnover and a touchback. And then in the second half, the Broncos, they used that as a nice little momentum swing, and then they just kind of peeled away from the Colts, and the rest is history. Nick Bonito had a huge game with that. Technically, it wasn't a pick. It was a fumble return for a touchdown, but I digress here. The Colts played the Broncos pretty tight until the first little crack in the facade, and they just didn't show enough poise and allowed themselves to kind of come apart. But maybe they learned from that in the same way, Zach, that I talk about some of the things the Broncos went up against late last season. You hope they learn from it, like coming out on the wrong side versus the Bengals when you forced them to overtime and you still found a way to lose. Maybe Sean Payton learned, hey, I should have gone for the 2-point conversion at the end of the 4th quarter. Little things like that. You wonder what the Colts may have learned from that matchup with the Broncos when they were on the losing end last year.
Yeah, and also taking it back to last week, the Colts are a much better coach team than the Titans are. Not to take anything away from Tennessee, but I'm a fan of Shane Steichen. I'm a fan of their DC, Lou and Engram. I can't pronounce the last name, whatever, but they're a well-coached team. The Broncos are going to be on the road. They don't have home field advantage. They're going to have to be on their P's and Q's this game, Chad, in what, again, should be a slugfest down to the 4th quarter.
Again, it's 1 week, so let's not read too much into this stuff, but look at this. They didn't even punt last week, the Colts, so they don't have a gross punting average or a net punting average or a punt return allowed average, right? So, but you look over here, Zach, the Broncos tied for 7th in their net punting. Good to see that from Jeremy Crawshaw after some of the concerns we had in the summer. But this punt return against, their coverage side of things, Zach, did not look good last week. They got to get that fixed against the Colts. And the last thing I'll say, and then we'll sign off of the head-to-head, is the Broncos I was happy to see, weren't too penalized last week, 10th fewest. The Colts, though, only had 4. So meanwhile, opponent penalties committed 3. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a statistic that makes any sense to me. But I digress. Zach, your thoughts here on these special teams rankings?
Yeah, you nailed it. I think the one thing we can take away is that the punting average is a lot better than it was in the preseason. There was some hand wringing, like you talked about, over Crawshaw. I thought he was much better against the Titans.
All right, guys. So it was a little bit janky because of how we had to segue into it and our original stream just ending out of the blue. But that's the first head-to-head of the season, and it's replete with one caveat after another. It's just 1 week's worth of data, but it is 2025 data. We're not going off like last week's. I guess technically it's the second head-to-head, Zach, but it's the first one this year with 2025 data. So we'll see as we get further and further into the season. Those head-to-heads will become more and more meaningful. Okay, let's see. Cody Dub, don't Colts have a rookie on that O-line? Dude, as you heard from Drake, Zach, seeing what the Broncos did, that front seven with regard to pass rush pressure, and also they were good against the run. We just went through that. They're nervous whether they had 5 Pro Bowlers up front. That defense, that front seven, dude, is sketchy if you're a Colts fan right now.
100% agreed. I don't care how good Daniel Jones is looking. I don't care how good the Colts offense is playing. I'll put this Broncos defense up against anyone. It's a far cry from Miami.
Scott, Mr. Producer, no rookies on the OL. 2 second-year players for the Colts. FYI, thank you, Mr. Producer. Okay, guys. So, yeah. Something's going on, though, because it's still very few comments. A weird night on StreamYard. So, Ralph, glad to hear it. He says, I missed the comparisons. Too bad it's irrelevant in September. Yeah, I don't know if it's totally irrelevant, but it's just that you gotta keep the caveats in mind when you're going through that data. It's fun to see how teams measure up regardless, though, right? Yeah, Ronk, right now, Von Miller playing for the Commanders. Totally. Todd, I'm not sure what happened. I was watching the show. Just stopped like it was over. So weird. Sorry about that, guys. I wish we could have some kind of an explanation for you, but we don't. We have no idea how that happened. But Zach, we had to do it in 2 different streams, but I think we got to all the information and all the topics we needed to tonight. Anything you think we may have missed amidst the kind of weird, janky stream stuff?
I think we nailed all the news, the injury report, a little preview of the game, the head-to-head. We got to the supers. I think we're good.
Guys, we got a few messages for you, so don't leave quite yet, and then we'll take one last look at the chat.
Tremendous episode, as always, episodes of the Mile High Huddle podcast. If you're not doing so, please follow us on X at the MHH Pod. You can follow the main account on X at Mile High Huddle. Chad at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, and Scott, our producer, at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch like we're rocking each and every single podcast, check out mhhmerch.com. Get you some. If you haven't done so yet, please drop us a like at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. You can find us on Instagram at mile_high_huddle. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some merch each and every single month. But if anything, y'all, please, very important as always that you subscribe, you like, you share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really helps us grow and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
I want to grab Eric. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you on Facebook. Always, we appreciate your support. The Ronk, great show tonight. Chad and Zach on the MHH podcast. Go Bo Broncos. Thank you, buddy. This question from Daryl on Facebook: what's the status of Nick Bonito? The status is justifying the paycheck, dude. I mean, he was a beast week 1, not on the injury report. He's good to go. Maybe you were curious about Dre Greenlaw is what you meant. I don't know. John Franklin Myers, Zach, also returned. If you guys did at the top of our original stream, returned to full practice today. So that's good news, along with Evan Engram. But Zach, something curious we haven't talked about real quick, and then we'll get out of here. Alex Singleton persists on the injury report. And when I first looked at it today, before I was paying attention to the pressers, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's still that thumb. Apparently, he says that he refractured or a second fracture in the same thumb from the thumb that he fractured that first week of training camp. And so his club that cast is going to remain on his hand for the next little bit still.
Yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. If anything, it's a weapon for him to use against opposing players. But he's going to be on the report, I think, every week, Chad, either with the thumb or maybe knee soreness, rest day, whatever. We're not concerned about Singleton around here.
All right, guys. Appreciate the support from all our great members, all of you in the chat, whether you're on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We appreciate each and every one of you. Sorry for the weird stream issues tonight. Totally don't know what happened, but I'm going to look into it. So much love and respect. A mile-high salute to the great Super Chat superstars, supporters, and members helping us keep the lights on tonight. I can't flash them because it's a separate stream here, but D-Dub throwing down 2 very generous Super Chats tonight. The Ronk, Cody Dub, Ted Wonderlick, Sam Bam, the Papa Bear, David McElrath, and then, of course, since we have been back on our second stream, Ralph Bracegirdle, Cody Dub, Eric Flynn, and again, Ronk, a phenomenal member and superstar. Thank you, guys. Zach and I are off until together the gut reaction on Sunday, but I'll be rocking and rolling tomorrow at noon for the next edition of Broncos Book Club. We're about 3/4 of the way through the Elway years. For members only, that'll be on YouTube, noon Mountain, 2 p.m. Eastern. Can't wait.
Have a great start to your weekend. We will see you Sunday for the gut reaction. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.